Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're cutting through all the modern theories and diving straight into the original text of Matthew 24 and 25. We're going to tackle one absolutely massive question. What does it actually mean to be ready for the return of Jesus? Now, when you hear about the coming of the Lord, I bet your mind immediately jumps to future events, right? Timelines, global news, the whole shebang. But the text actually challenges the very foundation of our daily walk. It forces us to pause and ask a deeply personal question. Are you truly ready? You see, Jesus' own words redefine readiness entirely. He makes it super clear that knowing timelines or memorizing prophetic facts, that is not the point. True readiness is about being spiritually alert and faithful at all times. If your readiness relies strictly on knowing a timeline, well, you might be missing the mark completely. To unpack this, we're going to look at the call to alertness, Pillar 1, the hidden life, Pillar 2, faithful ministry, Pillar 3, serving others, and finally, the ultimate readiness test. Section 1, the call to alertness. Jesus intentionally shifted the focus away from obsessing over future events and toward our present state of alertness. He told his disciples over and over again to just be on the alert. Spiritual watchfulness right now, today, takes absolute priority over knowing the factual, intricate details of tomorrow. Section 2, Pillar 1, the hidden life. This brings us to a brilliant illustration of the tension between the outward life and the inner life. Jesus tells this parable of 10 virgins, and all 10 of them had a really good visible testimony. Their lights were burning bright for everyone to see. But here's the catch. A flawless outward reputation is totally useless without the inner, hidden substance of the Holy Spirit before God. That's the oil in the flask. 5 are wise because they had that hidden purity, that oil, and 5 were foolish because they literally only had the visible light. The text points out a profound truth here. The crises of life show us exactly how strong or weak we are. Honestly, if you collapse in a crisis, you are weak in reality. The crisis in this story was the sudden, unexpected delay of the bridegroom in the dark of night. It's only in the darkness, when nobody else is looking, that it becomes glaringly obvious who actually has oil and who's just putting on a show. Ultimately, time reveals true spirituality. It's kind of like a seed that sprouts up immediately but has absolutely no depth of soil. The outward show always fails without a hidden life. We are literally just deceiving ourselves if we think we're ready based on what others can see. True readiness, it demands a pure inner life before God in our thoughts, our attitudes, and our hidden motives. Section 3, Pillar 2, faithful ministry. Moving into the parable of the talents, we see a really fascinating dynamic. Material possessions, natural abilities, and spiritual gifts, they are distributed unequally. One person gets 5, another gets 2, and another gets just 1. We are not all equal in what we receive, but we do all have equal time to be faithful with it. And look at how this plays out over time. The servant who multiplied his 2 talents into 4 received the exact same reward as the one who multiplied 5 into 10. To whom more is given, more is required, right? However, strict judgment fell on the guy who buried his single talent in the ground. He essentially hoarded his God-given abilities for this world, rather than using them for God. So, the ultimate standard for our resources is captured in this really simple, piercing motto: all for God and nothing for self. Anything you use purely for yourself is just like that buried talent in the dirt. But anything used exclusively for God's glory is transformed into eternal riches. If we just hoard our gifts for our own earthly kingdom, well, the text warns we're simply deceiving ourselves about being ready. Section 4, Pillar 3, serving others. Here we see an intense standard for true service. Human nature always craves the VIP pass, right? We naturally want to serve the most important visible people. But Jesus focuses entirely on serving the least of his brothers, providing for their physical or spiritual needs. And this service should be done in absolute secret, so quietly that your left hand doesn't even know what your right hand is doing. Serve believers as unto the Lord himself. In fact, the righteous in this passage serve so quietly, they don't even remember doing these good deeds when the Lord brings them up. By sharp contrast, we see what gets someone left behind. If you're solely occupied with eating, drinking, buying, selling, and just building for yourself alone, totally ignoring the needs of your fellow believers, the text is crystal clear. You are entirely unprepared for Christ's return. Section 5. The Ultimate Readiness Test. Now, imagine standing at the judgment seat with this spectacular spiritual resume. The text describes people pointing to their outward greatness, reminding the Lord that they expelled demons, preached amazing sermons, and healed the sick. Yet they are completely rejected. Why? Because they entirely lacked that hidden life of holiness. The accepted ones, on the other hand, inherit the kingdom not through grand gestures, but through a hidden life of holiness and secret service to the least of these. As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with this one thought. When the time comes, will you rely on your spiritual resume or your hidden life? Will you point to your outward works, or will you be sustained by that unseen oil of the Holy Spirit? Check your flask today, because true readiness absolutely isn't about what the world sees, it's about what God knows is in your heart.